Well, hey everybody, it's Paul. Welcome to the channel. It's been a while since I've been on here, it seems. Probably been a couple days, but it feels like a lifetime. And we've had power outages a while back. We've had storms every day. It is so windy outside, I can't even begin to film on the balcony. We've been stuck. Michigan has a way of being stuck in a rain rut. I used to own a cottage on this lake and I would rent it out weekly in the summer. Some people take it a week, some people take it 2 weeks. And it was great, people always have a good time, but there was always one poor, just Charlie Brown kind of luck kind of guy, like me. It reminded me of me. That would rent it, and you never know. There's no guarantees about the weather, of course. But there was one person, say, that every year would rent it for a week, and every single day during that week it would rain. I call it a rain rut, and we are in a rain rut right now. You can't believe it. Since I've lost power, we've had rain and storms and high winds and misery ever since then. Just yesterday, I went to look at buying a new car, to me, new used car. And when I was getting close to Detroit, I have Cricket, which runs on AT&T. My whole cell data, everything was down. I couldn't make a call, couldn't get any data, blah, blah, blah. It was because there was huge flooding. You would not believe it. And I've seen pictures of the Jeep Grand Cherokee plant where they have rows of these Grand Cherokees that have just rolled off the assembly line, probably about, close to $100,000 a pop, right, retail. And they are up to, well past the bottom of the doors, halfway up the doors in water. It's just sickening to see it, the money, the waste. How that happened? Didn't somebody see like the water rise and say, hey, we better get a bunch of these cars moved? Literally rows of them. People's basements. I know somebody that their sofas floating around in their basement, probably got 2-3 feet of water. They happened to me once in Elm Park. I think it was back in the 70s, mid 70s, maybe 80s, where we had one big storm that went through and everything backed up. It's a nightmare. But anyways, so that's just me complaining about the weather in these rain ruts where the poor guy would rent a cottage, and that's what's been like here every single day. High winds, rainy weather, never a break, flooding, just overdone. So I've got me a big glass of lemonade. I hope you got something to keep you refreshed. It's pretty hot out here today. Well, I thought I'd tell you about my first adventure in car shopping. This isn't the first rodeo for the old guy. I've sold plenty of cars and trucks and real estate and things like that. And right away you can tell, 9 times out of 10 it seems like, whether you're dealing with a legit place or not. And I gotta say, I was really disappointed because yesterday's did not go too well. And I like getting out, and I haven't been getting out too much, through the whole pandemic. But I like to go for a ride. This was an hour and a half each way. So I was kind of a little disappointed that didn't work out. But here's the thing, I get there. And they got the car out, and I've got a 3/4 ton, a Ram 2500. So I want to drive a Ram 1500 because I'm not going to be pulling anything massive. And a Ford half-ton 150. So I went out to drive this car, low miles, right at 10,000 miles, and just a couple years old. So I walk up to it and I'm like, the tires look bald. That's not, you can tell a 10,000 mile tire looks relatively new. You know how that deep tread goes on forever, it's deep, This is like somebody's been, using them and abuse it like it's on their last legs before they want to, scrap them. Or maybe somebody put them on after they were scrapped. That's what it looked like. So the first thing I'm like, are these the tires that came with the car? These the brand's right, but they look like they got a lot of miles. And the salesman's like, yeah, I don't know if that came with it. Let me ask the service manager. And the service manager's like, well, here's the thing. No matter if they came with it or not, they meet the safety specs. I'm like, yeah, but they don't look like 10,000 mile tires. But okay. So the car had a fair amount of scratches. Somebody was hard on it for 10,000 miles. It should look almost showroom. That's not a whole lot of miles, in my opinion. And the place did a really bad job as far as like prepping it, detailing it, getting it ready to show. It's like they ran a vacuum, but when you push the seat forward to like look in the back seat and such, underneath the seat, they never bothered to do that. It was just filled up with dog hair. It's like, there was a huge stain, about a bowling ball size stain, brown stain right on the light colored seat. I was like, gross. Couldn't they have done a better job of getting that out? It was nasty. You know, like I just did my truck. I mean, if you have pop cans or like pop from carry out, oftentimes you put in a cup holder and you're driving and some will slosh out or whatever. So the bottom of the cup holder, if you don't maintain it, it's kind of grody in there, and that's exactly this. They had like kind of quickly wiped it, I would say, but I mean, didn't even get the sticky, like grody, like almost looks like bubble gum but dark, mess in there. It's like, come on, man, you guys didn't do much to get this thing, in my opinion. Like say, everything's like flooding here. So on my side, the driver's side, there was no puddle, but for Ben to get in, on the passenger side, it was in a deep puddle. So I'm like, I'll get in, you stand back there, Ben, I will back it up so you don't gotta get knee deep in a puddle, and then you can get in. He's like, okay. So I get in, and I'm, because it's got the dial shifter instead of like this kind or on the floor, your park, reverse, neutral, drive type thing. It's a dial. So I'm like, getting my mirror set. I'm going to take it out to drive. I always have to stop the videos in the summer times as the ski boats go by, and they're just pumping the music, and I'm telling you, they come right off the dock. And then when they turn away, they have these things backward facing so the person skiing can hear the tune just fine. But that means it's aimed right in the window and I can hear the tune just fine, so I don't want my video to get knocked off. So I always have to pause it. But anyways, Ben's in the back. I start the car and he tells me afterwards, he's like, I saw smoke, like blue smoke, and not just like a puff. And it wasn't cold out. I've seen cars when you first start them, you have a little bit of that white when it's cold out, and then it goes away or whatever. So then as I was backing up, he's like, it was still pulling out, I mean, not a cloud, but you could just see some blue haze coming out. I'm like, oh, that should 10,000 miles. So anyway, he gets in and I'm like getting my seatbelt on and adjusting everything and seeing how it's all laid out. But it's raining. I'm like, are you shaking the truck? What are you doing, He's like, no. And the truck's going like rhythmically. Like, I'm like, man, this thing's running rough. 10,000 miles, this thing should be butter smooth, in my opinion. And it's like, it's like, this ain't gonna work. If I wanted to drive a Ram 1500, and I have this to report, I love the model. I will probably get a Ram. If not, the Ford, but I really like that. It was a confident ride, sitting high, not as high as my 3/4 ton, but that's fine. It's a better ride. So, but yeah, this one we declined, let's say, and just people that are. I mean, there's just like I couldn't do that job, And, I asked them because, like, a lot of places they'll say, like, right on the ad or right in the paperwork, certified pre-owned. It gives you a little bit better warranty and things like that. I'm like, this certified? He calls out to to the service guy that had come out about the tires. He's like, "Hey, we certify all of our vehicles." Oh, yeah. Right on the vehicle it says, as is, no warranty. And it's got that box checked, real big letters. Nowhere does it say certified. And I'm just like, well, I think I've seen enough at this place. So, anyways, the hunt continues. I wonder if any of you have used CarMax. Does anybody use CarMax to buy or sell? Specifically, I'm looking to sell my van. CarMax has a thing where you give them a description, the VIN, your plate number, whatever, the miles. You fill out this and they give you a quote. And then you just bring in your quote and they double check things, I guess, and they write you a check. So their quote is very decent for my Kia. So I'm thinking about, the only problem is it's 2 hours west. It's 2 hours west, so it's a bit of a haul, and I gotta take 2 vehicles so I can get back because I'm not buying there. But I just wonder if anybody has a report. Did CarMax do right by you as far as your trade-in or purchasing your vehicle? Or did they do a bait and switch? Did they happen to say a quote and then you get there and it's $5,000 less or something like that? So I think I'm going to give it a shot. Of course, I will report if I do, but I would love to hear other people's experiences because I value that tremendously. So the point is, I'm trying to lessen the number of vehicles. I've got my old 3/4 ton Dodge Ram truck, 2500. I've got my Kia Sedona. I've got the Hummer. Ben's getting a Jeep. It's like, we don't need it's starting to look like a fleet car here, especially then Ryan brings his car over. It's like we got a dealer lot parked outside the house. So eventually I'm going to be building in Virginia. So before I build, I have to rent an apartment if I can't find a house to rent. And I don't need to have a whole train of vehicles down there. So I was thinking I'll get rid of my truck, get rid of my van, and replace it with a new truck to me, a newer truck, I should say. But a smaller truck, probably. Half ton would be fine. So I was looking at diesels even, but you gotta have the 3/4 ton or you get the European diesel. But they just cost so much more. I don't think, ultimately I won't be doing that much driving, so I would love, 2500 with Cummins diesel, but geez, you can drop an awful lot of money on that. I just don't think I'll be using enough to get the payback on that. But anyway, 1500 gas seems about right for me. As always, I always appreciate you guys stopping by, spending a few minutes with the old guy. Some of you people like to tune in to see what's going on. Some like to tune in to fall asleep. I get it, and I appreciate every one of you. Don't forget, you can always stop by the Amazon link down below if you're going to buy something. The old guy gets a low credit. It's much appreciated. Doesn't cost you a penny. Until next time, guys, thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you.